Oops. Did I just stop it or start it? I think I just started it. Okay. All right, so we're using X Besame's new straight leg pant, and I've never used it before, so this is the underwear, and this is the pant. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab her pant. We're going to save that, and we're just going to call this, I'm going to call this Blues Pants. And I'm going to name it a PNG. And then if you want, you can also save her underwear. I don't know if we'll use them. Well, we'll use them, but I don't know if we're going to actually need the map. So call this Blues Underwear, just in case we want to use it. Scroll down and drive. And what color do you like best? And don't say purple, please. The past 4 people that I have taught wanted purple. And you can do a pattern too. It doesn't matter. I'm going to show you. Everything has to be original, but I asked them how, if this was original, and they said yes, if you want a pattern, the way I do it. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to do this in um, original look, okay? So let me bring my GIMP up. It's taking a minute because I had to reboot. Now I can do this pretty quick. So, but stop me if I'm going fast. Yeah. Even if you don't, I have other ones up. Okay, so I do have other pants that I've done. So I'm going to make a new file and I'm going to make it 250. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to open hers. I'm going to go by her map. So let's go to, it'll be under my desktop. Go. And like I said, everything's going to go a little slow until the computer kind of catches up to my reboot. So Blues Pants. All right. And this mesh, she did this mesh really small. And so there isn't like all this black at the top like usual. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer. And this is already the size of the pant. We don't have to change the waistline or anything. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to zoom it up so you can see. I added a layer and then I'm going to find your color. So I'm going to go to my blue and find like a turquoise-ish blue. How's that? Okay. I'm going to bring my brush down a little. That's fine. Okay. I'm going to hold my shift down after I click once. I'm going to click once, hold my shift, and follow the green. And you don't have to follow all the green. You can go to the middle and you see the line right here. And you can just go right there and follow this green. And I might just add a little more in there, right there. And then I'm going to go back. So I'm just outlining one side. Let's go all the way back at the top, click once. And then I'm going to go to my bucket fill and bucket fill it. Then you take your brush and you fill in these parts on the edges that didn't get filled. And you can actually do it like this. Now that you got the top part, you can just take your rectangle select, go to edit, and fill it with that, and then the whole thing is filled in. That's a lot quicker. Okay, go to duplicate layer under layers, and then under layers go to transform and flip horizontally, and it goes to the other side, and then merge them down, and there you have your background. So, yep, really easy. And so now you can take it off and see underneath it. I'm going to add another layer, and now we're going to start shading it. And so what I want to do is I want to just bring down this one a little bit. So I clicked it and bring the opacity down on my layer box here. Click the top layer again so that you're not working on that one, you're working on the top one. And you can see in here where her butt is and everything. So what we're going to do on our new layer is I'm going to go to my blue color and I'm going to find a lighter blue. And that's probably fine. I'm going to bring my brush up a little bit. And her butt is right here. You can see how it's all really meshed in together. So I'm going to just add a dot, and that might not even be big enough. So I'll go up a little bit more. Add a dot. Okay, so duplicate that layer, go to and flip it, and then merge those two together. So they're on one layer right here. Now go to filters and blur, Gaussian blur, and just eyeball it under the preview to what you want it to be. Okay, now to really tell what it's going to look like, I'm going to go back to this layer and bring the opacity back up so that I can see just how bright this it's basically a butt highlight is. And on my layers, I'm going to take my opacity down so that it's not super bright. And then I'm going to add another layer. I'm going to save it real quick while I'm on this layer. I want to see if they're in the right spot. So this is your underwear, the top one. So you click the second one and just put it in your texture. And see if they're in the right spot. And they look fine to me. So then we can actually do this real quick just to get it out of the way. I'm going to make a new box. I'm going to make it a 256 by 512. I'm going to take the blue color that we're working with and put it in there. And I'm just going to save this. And I'm just going to call it Blues Underwear Texture. Just to get it out of the way so we don't got to worry about it. And I'm going to put it here. And what this will do, because this is solid, is it's going to fill all that in with the blue so that if there is any, let me find it, if there's any shredding, it's basically because we didn't make a pair of underwear, this is going to put a bodysuit underneath. And so if there's any shredding anywhere in the pant, that other blue will show up underneath and you won't see any shredding. Because we don't have to make underwear for this because you're not going to be able to tell. You're not going to be able to see that it was you know what I mean? Nobody's going to be able to see your underwear. And so instead of making some, we're just going to do a bodysuit underneath it just to take care of any shredding. And I hadn't saw any yet. Most of her meshes don't shred much, but just in case. That way if you're out on the dance floor and you're moving around, you're not going to have to worry about shredding. Okay. So now I'm going to add, did I already add a layer? I think I did. Yes, I did. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to this blue color, only now I'm going to pick a really dark blue, almost black color, and make my brush smaller. And on this new layer, I'm going to start about here. That's probably too small a brush. But I'm going to start about in the middle of that highlight on the bottom of it and arc it. And you don't really got to be perfect. It almost always turns out okay no matter how you do it. I'm going to duplicate it, flip it, merge it down, and blur that layer. This one I don't want blurred as much, so maybe a little more than that. And then I'm going to take my opacity down on that a little, save it. Click this one. And I pretty much do that with everything I do, is save it and then check it. That way, if it isn't in the right spot, then you can move it right then. And I think maybe it should go up just a little bit, but I'm not sure. So what I'm going to do is just put somebody on. So I'm just going to put a girl on real quick and check it in that, because I don't have to worry about it passing MCG because she's got her long underwear on and all that. She's not going to match, but that's okay. For now. And it's taking forever to load. There she goes. Okay, so it is in the right spot, I believe. Okay, so see how it kind of highlighted up here, but I want that to be a little more defined. And so what I'm going to do is add another layer, and with this darker paintbrush, I'm just going to add like a little, V or whatever, a little slashy dark spot in there. And then I'm going to duplicate it, flip it, merge that one down, and blur it. And you don't want it really, really dark, so I'm going to take the opacity down on that quite a bit. Okay, and what that'll do is it'll just highlight that dimple above the butt. And it just gave a little darker shade right there above the butt. So now we want to highlight her legs. So I'm going to take, well, first I'm going to go here and add a layer. And then I'm going to go down here and take down the opacity. And the reason is I wanted to see, but it's not really showing me, so we're going to have to guess. So I'm going to take that light blue color, and I'm just going to take a paintbrush, and I have to guess about where her knee is. And so here's her butt. I'm going to go down to here under her butt, hold my shift down, and maybe go here, skip some, go here, and then down to the bottom. Okay? And what I'm doing is trying to leave a space in there for her knee. And then over here, this is where her crotch is, right here. So, I don't know, maybe about here. And do the same thing. I'm going to go down a little bit lower and a little bit higher. And do the same thing. And then go to my layers, duplicate my layer, flip it, transform and flip it horizontally, and merge those. I'll go here and bring my opacity back, and then click this one again and blur this. And we're going to take our opacity down quite a bit. You'll still be able to see a highlight, but you don't want it to be really super noticeable. So now I'm going to add another layer and get that dark color. And next to them, I'm going to shift, add a line, let go of my shift, and then shift again. Do the same thing on the other side. I'm trying to get it straight. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And then we're going to do it in here too. And then let go of it and then do it again. So each time you want a new one, you let go of the shift, click, and then put the shift back on, okay? So we're going to duplicate that, transform and flip it, merge that layer down, and then blur it. And I'm going to take my opacity on that down too. And then I'm going to check and see if it looks like her legs are highlighted. It just makes it look like the light is hitting her legs a little bit, so that it curves around her leg and shows up the curves of her body. And so I'll zoom it in and you can see how it's highlighted just a little bit on her thigh and down the leg. And it's very subtle, okay? And it's up to you how much of it you want actually on the front of her leg. I might even go up a little bit higher with the brightness on the front of her leg, which is this one. Just brighten that up just a little bit. And see what it looks like. And you don't have to do it all at once. You could do the back of the leg and then do the front of the leg all separate if you wanted to. Okay, and you can sort of see it just a little bit better right there. Okay. Alright, now I know you have an issue with the crotches. But we are going to add a layer. I haven't heard anybody else talk about it. I try to do it really subtle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make like a little curve, and then I'm going to duplicate that layer, transform, and flip it and merge those. And it's just going to highlight it a little bit. And where am I at? I want blur. Okay, so I'm going to blur that. I'm going to bring it down a bit. And you can hardly see it. Okay, so, and then it's up to you, but you could also take a little bit of a lighter brush right there, just a tiny little bit, and blur that. It's just a little bit, and then take your opacity down so that it's not that noticeable, okay? And it's not prudish. We're going to put wrinkles there too. You're going to do it. Okay, so it's the only way to get a realistic look. So, okay, so that one probably is a little too much, so we'd take that down just a little bit. It's a little bit bright. No, 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 no. We're not going to do a camel toe. All we're going to do, because the pudenda on a female does stick out, and you want this to look as real as possible, but you don't want it to look like, you know, that. I could be really crude, but we don't want it to look like that. So. Okay, so now see, it's not as noticeable, not even hardly at all. Okay, it's just a slight, very very slight. It looks like a real pair of pants would look. And subtle. You know, it does not have to be in your face, bright white on your crotch. No, no, it doesn't. That's what you said the last time. Here I am. Look at my crotch. Okay, we're going to add a layer. Okay, that's all your shadings and highlights that we're going to do for now, and we're going to now start on wrinkles. So, first wrinkle can just be we're going to take this and make it black. And we have white and black, so put it on the white. Our first wrinkle, make your brush kind of small. It was already pretty small, I have it on a 28. And what I'm going to do is right here, I'm just going to go straight across, and I know that you know how to do wrinkles. And then duplicate the layer, but we're going to do lots of wrinkles on a pair of pants. And then we're going to. Why? Yes, lots of wrinkles. Now, am I on the right layers? Okay, so I'm going to click my top layer, take my arrow down, click my top layer, and merge down. And we're going to see what I do. Okay, it's right there. It's on the wrong spot. Okay, why is that? Okay, I don't know why that was. I don't know. Okay, then I'm going to take my smudger and I'm going to zoom this up. Now, when I smudge, what I usually try to do is see, I kind of push, instead of like just going back and forth, I push. I push the black and the white together. And then I can push it down and make it skinny if I want. And I think I just got rid of some. Okay. It is really, really getting see-through here. Okay. Alright, I might have. I'm going to resize that wrinkle so it's smaller. I might have gotten overzealous with my smudging, but I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my really, really dark bluish color. Go to my paintbrush, make it on an overlay, make my paintbrush big, and just click once, twice, 3 times, maybe 4 times. Okay, so I'm going to bring my opacity on it down. I don't know how much I want it down, but we'll see. Okay, so now I'm going to duplicate the layer, move it underneath, and duplicate the layer and move it underneath again. And our belt is going to go here, so you have to keep in mind that your belt and everything is going to be on there. So you might think you're putting too many on, but you actually might not be. And then you can also scale some of these a little lower. We can make that one 100 and put it underneath so that it looks like it's a little smaller. All right, now, and another thing that is available to you if you want to, when you're in 100, the middle of your fit is at the 103 mark right here. So you can click these little arrow thingies and move them over. And if you want to see if you're in the middle, okay? Like, I'm trying to get it in the middle of the black because that should be at right around 103, right around in there. And then you can actually see your middle. And it won't show up in your texture. You don't have to worry about it. So, okay, so I got that wrinkle in, and I'm going to save it. And I'll get rid of that line in a minute. And I'm going to see how far down her wrinkle goes and how well it looks. it may be too dark for you or too wrinkly. It's up to you if you want to take the opacity down on it or not. But it's going down quite I would say far enough, I would say. So let me get rid of that line. Is there another one? Yep, there's another one. Now what I'm going to do, it's not that one. Starting here, I'm going to click this one, and there are, let me count, I think there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there is. So I'm going to merge it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then all the wrinkles are together. I'm going to take my opacity down so that it wasn't so dark, okay? Now, we're going to put some on the sides, so we're going to add another layer. I'm just going to click up here to this layer so I can make sure that the layer goes where I want it to be. I don't like having to look for them. Okay, so I'm going to get white again. I'm going to put it back on normal. And this is, I'm going to bring my brush back down to that 33. I like that size. And this is where you're going to put your crotch wrinkles at that you have a fit about. And what we're going to do, okay, you want some to be like on the bottom. They don't have to, you want them angled, but you don't want them super angled, okay? And then up here, you don't want to go way in the middle. Up here, we're going to just make one straight. Well, we'll do this one angled up just a tad. Right under it, we're going to do one straight across. And then underneath that one, we're going to do one that's kind of like that. And maybe go in a little bit and maybe another one down here. Okay, so we're going to duplicate that layer and move these down a little bit. Make our paint black and bucket fill those layers. And that's not black, but it's dark. It's, if we want them to if you just have to have them black, you don't have to make everything black. It could be the dark color, but if you are just used to it, we can make it black and then play with it. But you can actually do your wrinkles in the colors. Okay, so you're going to click the top one and move it down on the arrow on the bottom, and then you're going to click the top one, go to your layer, and merge it down. And we're going to smudge these up. So I'm just, now these ones, I don't smudge them terrifically smudged, if you know what I mean. I kind of leave them a little bumpier, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. And you know what? I forgot this part. You should have reminded me. You know I forgot it. I forgot to blur it up to a 3 on these ones up here. Okay. But I had blurred them so much up there that I don't really know that it would have mattered. So it probably would have just made them all disappear. Okay, so we're going to go back to our paint, put it back on overlay, make our brush really, really big. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now you can see, since I didn't do it so much, they have a little more of the lighter shade. And so these ones will probably look a little more like a wrinkle, but we're going to take it down a lot. And then I'm going to duplicate my layer and flip it. And it went over here to this side perfectly. We can merge that down and save it. And then we actually might have wanted to resize it, so I'm just going to look at it and see. Getting ahead of myself here. Yep, we do. We want to resize it. They're way too big. Way too big. Yes, they do. And it's because I'm going to undo the add. And so I undid my add layer. Okay, so I'm going to go to my layer, scale my layer. we'll just do half because that was pretty big. And then I'm going to move it to where I want it. Okay, so let's try there. And then duplicate and flip it, and this one has to be moved over too. And you can kind of eyeball it, make to see if you got it in the right spot. It doesn't actually have to be perfect because wrinkles aren't perfect. Nobody's wrinkles are on the exact same place on both parts of their pants, but this is IMVU. We're trying to do it as perfect as possible. Okay. I'm going to move them up. I'm going to move them up. So, merge it. Click my active layer because I didn't have that. And I'm going to go up with it and try to get it centered. And if I don't like it, I can erase these wrinkles, or the parts of the wrinkles that I don't like. You don't have to, if some of the wrinkles look good and some don't, you can always erase the ones that don't. Okay. So I think those are pretty much in a good spot. And if they're too deep for you, you can take your opacity down on them. Okay? What's going on? Oh, okay. I'll wait for you. Just a second. I'm froze? Just a, just a second. Okay. Now I didn't check this, so I'm going to stop the tape and then I'm going to redo it, okay? So